Hey guys, welcome back to Game Sandwich. I'm John Hanson, that's Kalo, and today we're having a discussion about our time with South of Midnight. Before we begin, just want to point out that I was given a code for South of Midnight, so uh, we already have a written review for the game up on GameSandwich.com. I'm sure Kalo will include a link in the description below if you want to go read that. But this is going to be a little more casual. This is going to be us just talking about our experience with the game and really what I think is high quality game.
Mm-hmm.
Kalo, on just base thoughts, what did you think about South of Midnight?
Heading into it, didn't I had the expectations it'd be beautiful, soundtrack, blah blah blah. But playing through that story and experiencing it without knowing anything and just I played it with my headphones on, I was like, man, this is a game that had that missing feeling of what I felt whenever I played old 3D platformers. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean the story is the big takeaway from this game, so let's start there. You playing as Hazel, you're trying to find your mom, who was washed away in a hurricane. Well, your whole house was washed away with her inside it in a hurricane. And along the way, you're meeting all these folklore monsters that have like these big traumas from their life that transform them into monsters, and you're going around and healing them while also finding your mom and all this other stuff. And the funniest part about this game is that Hazel is a good character. I
Mm-hmm.
like her. Her mom, I thought was boring. I didn't really need all the like moments where you like find the pieces of the house
Yeah.
and there's like the mom talking about. I'm like, this didn't really add anything to me. But like focusing in on the monsters themselves was so cool. The Benji story at the beginning of the game, I'm not going into like everything about it, but I have a brother who is mentally challenged. He's autistic, and I took care of him a lot growing up. That was one of the moments in the game. There were multiple moments, but that was one of the moments in the game where my jaw dropped
Mm-hmm.
and like I gasped because I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that!" Uh,
Yeah.
just brilliant, heartbreaking storytelling
Mm-hmm.
throughout the thing. But the Benji story and the story about the grandma's daughter. Well,
Um,
I'm gonna go into it.
I want to say not Cynthia. It's with a C. I remember
Sherry, I
Sherry.
think.
Cherie. I think it was Cherie. Um,
Yeah.
for every key like story you go through, there was always that moment in the story where like, all right, this is very dark and blah blah blah, but then it took it to another level where like I play video games, stories are great, I have that experience with them. This is the one game, like, I can't think of another one as of late that has made me react in the ways where I'm like physically like, oh, okay, this is where this is going, this is where it's taking this story and all these things it covers. And for what it's worth, you made a point in your review that I thought was exactly what I was looking for at how to describe it. We get all of these stories. They are very impactful, very dark, very deep. But we never really see that resolution. We never see something play out. And I'm like, I just wish they would have given us, even if it's like Hazel bumping into that character again, to be like, you're going to explain all that, or like having that reconciliation. I feel like that would have taken like the whole game over the top.
Yeah, that was the one downfall with this story because while I think it is right for the story to focus on the victims with the monsters and everything, they just kind of leave it. There's an empty ending there where you don't know what happens with the murderers, the people who did the very bad things.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like the beginning part with Benji's brother. I can't remember his name. I After Hazel found out what he did, I was like, I want to confront this guy. I want Hazel to talk to him and be like, you did what? And then, but we just never get that. You never see him again. And that happens almost every time. There's only one time that I think you get that resolution, and it's with can't remember the owl guy.
Laurent.
Laurent, yeah, right after the fight with him, you do get that resolution. And that is awesome. And man, I wanted more of that because I think that is the only time you get any resolution. So that was disappointing, but overall, the story as a whole, I loved it.
That was me with Jolene. That's whenever it first started clicking. Like, man, am I not going to get to talk to any of these guys after I figure out their story? Because that's what Two-Toed Tom. And I was like, oh, like, you set a gator on your brother or, like, your relative. Father. Are we not gonna discuss this? But again, like, right. It just takes you from story to story. And I feel that was more of an afterthought after I finished the game where I'm like, oh, okay, that didn't happen. Let's break that down.
Like I said, I wasn't too crazy about all the mom stuff. I thought maybe the story tried to hamstring her in a little too much. Like, it was okay to have the mom as, like, the main goal for Hazel. Like, yeah, of course, she wants to save her mom and everything. But along the way, we're getting all these other stories, and I really wanted to see the resolution of these. So, yeah, I absolutely agree there. Just kind of sticking on the folklore thing here. What did you think of the music when you got into the boss fights? Because I absolutely love this.
Oh, I mean, there has been heading into this game, the premise and what we took it as was this game is going to have some banger soundtrack music, and it did. You're climbing the tree with Benji. You're going and you see Two-Toed Tom like slither in through the swamp. Hugging Molly whenever you're climbing up or you're flying through the mountains. The soundtrack fits so perfectly, and even outside of the main tracks, there's these little ones sprinkled in where it adds to the environment where you're like, man, like, this is why I played with my headphones on. I wanted to experience the soundtrack as is, best quality, and I don't regret it. And again, music to me, we've covered, like, we were talking about Mario at some point of how, like, I always thought the music makes the game, and it did here by every stretch of the word.
Yeah, absolutely. The soundtrack was amazing. I particularly love the boss fights, and I guess it's not always boss fights, but like the lead up to them, because it's not just the instruments going. You start hearing what is supposed to be like either the victim or the killer or whatever. Like, they're going through and they're like recounting the story for them, whether they regret it or they don't, and it's just so cool. Absolutely, it made it feel like a musical when you're in the middle of a boss fight.
Oh yeah,
it was amazing. I'm sure there's other experiences like that out there, but I couldn't think of anything. It was very unique, and I absolutely loved it. We should probably... Well, oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I was going to say, my general thing coming out of this game, if you told me and you presented the story and, like, let's just say I knew what happened in this whole game, and you slapped a Disney logo or a Pixar logo on it, this is like a damn good animated movie if I've ever seen one.
I am a huge fan of stop-motion films. The Nightmare Before Christmas, for example, is my favorite movie of all time. I just love that art style, and I love how they kind of made that work in this video game. We've seen it kind of before, but like the whole thing, like especially the menu animation when you start up the game, like that whole sequence there where you're like going through the burrows and Hazel finds the book, like that was the first time I saw that, I was just like blown away. That was an amazing sequence, and I absolutely loved it. But we should probably move over to the gameplay since, you know, this is a video game. Overall, I think the traversal is pretty fun. And I did enjoy the boss fights, mostly because of the music and everything. I wasn't too crazy about the combat. In fact, South of Midnight reminds me a lot of Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I think it's a better version of that, but Anna Bridge of Spirits was a game that I played through and I was like, okay, I love this. It looks like a Pixar movie. I love the story. I hated the gameplay. Like
Hmm.
it just didn't gel with me. I didn't hate it as much as Kenna with South of Midnight, but it definitely wasn't the selling point for me. I enjoyed like the flying through wind tunnels and the platforming when they put it in there. And I like that they put a lot of moments where you can go off from the main path to find secrets and
Hmm.
collectibles and all that. Like that was good, but man, the hate battles I was so tired of. I did not like them one bit. I never did really. I was not a fan because they're just scattered all over the place. You have to go through them to get the memories of all the events. And man, I really did not like this. How did you feel about combat and just gameplay in general?
Gameplay, again, it's nothing to write home about, and that's not a bad thing, especially nowadays. I can see a lot of ways this could have gone wrong. Again, like what you were saying, these battles just it got robotic and formulaic to the point where it's like, okay, I gotta go here, gotta do this, gotta purify this point, gotta do this, do that. The one thing I do want to shout out real quick, a power up I loved throughout this game and every aspect they used it. Shout out to my boy Crouton. Crouton was such a major help to me in combat where I found it a point, and again, this is where got robotic, where I'm down to my last two enemies. Maybe I have low health. I cast Crouton to kind of have some reinforcements to take over somebody and fight the thing that's giving me the problem. And then his little bits where he's running through the caves, you see like the rabbits are sitting at their tables, like having meals. It was that stuff that kind of got me across the finish line as to say, like, okay, like it's a basic combat loop. I get it. The flying bits, like you were saying. The one thing I got pissed off at, and it's just me being impatient and experiencing modern 3D platformers, they didn't give you everything right away. They didn't give you the double jump. They didn't give you the glide. And I was sitting there at the start like, damn, like I could have used a double jump. I could have used a dodge. I could have used a wall run. And it's like, okay, no, patience, let it play out. You're going to get there and it's going to get better.
Yeah, I was fine with the way that they rolled that stuff out. The Burrow stuff with Crouton, I, from a world building aspect, absolutely loved it. Like just seeing all the animals in their burrows, the rabbits would like be playing together, a fox would come along, and just wildlife throughout the entire game. I love seeing how lively the world was. Um, I wasn't a huge fan of Crouton. I thought those burrow sections outside of seeing like everything alive there, I was
Yeah.
like, this is the same thing over and over again. I'm just walking through a tunnel and reaching the end. Like it they didn't add anything new to it. It is always just okay, wait for the trail of fire ants to go by. Now you can go. Or wait for the spiky bush to stop being spiky. Now you can go. Like that's all it was the entire time, so I wasn't crazy about that. Um Using Crouton as like in a battle, that was pretty cool, but you couldn't do that in the boss fights.
Hmm.
So that kind of was like whatever. Yeah, I'll say it again. This was a lot like Kenna Bridge of Spirits, but it's a better version of Kenna. Um, so yeah, there's that. I think that South of Midnight nails its story, nails its world building, but man, the gameplay overall, it's not bad. It's just there.
Like playing it safe but almost too safe where it's like you could have done stuff with the weaving and threads and all that, but they were kind of like here's the basic whatever. Even with upgrades and stuff throughout the story, it's like there's one tree and then there's the like four power-ups you can get, and there isn't too much there to unpack. It's like there's the one tree, get through it. There's no secondary upgrades, or you can do this path, or you can be a brute, whatever. Is very basic, but you know, for some people, maybe that resonates.
Yeah. So I think that's where we're going to end our review discussion here. Like I said, we do have a written review of South Midnight. Link to that will be down below. I gave it an 8 out of 10, which on our review scale is a great game, a fantastic game. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I absolutely recommend it, especially if you have Game Pass.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good experience, and yeah, I'd say one of the better games of 2025 so far.
So far, yes. And again, you brought up Game Pass. Perfect game for the service. I mean, it's almost a crime if you don't at least try it out to be like, hey, maybe it's my thing, maybe it isn't.
Absolutely. Well, that will do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below if you've played South of Midnight, your thoughts on it, and like the video and subscribe to Game Sandwich for more videos. Bye.
If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.